Hey, Vortex. I kind of wanted to talk about something that I was trying to talk about in the previous videos, and I always feel like I never say it right. I know I talk a lot. I know that I probably sound like I'm just rambling on, and this is just a bunch of gibberish, and it might very well be, but so be it. This can be gibberish if I want it to be gibberish, damn it. I was thinking about, like, why people that have, like, certain personality types, they seem like they're worse off. So, I'm a very self-aware person. I understand how I come across. There's a lot that I don't express on this channel, even though I have, 7,400 videos now? Fuck yeah, baby. I still don't cover it. I really don't. Like, there's a really emotional side to this. Like, no matter how much I cry on this channel, like, y'all ain't seen nothing, okay? I get completely hysterical. If people saw me, they would assume that I'm in psychosis because of how emotional I am. But that's also why I don't reveal it to anyone, because I know how it comes across. And I don't want to get put in a psych ward. Especially considering my views on medication and everything. For a lot of people, like, that's grounds to be considered delusional. Like, to think that doctors are poisoning us, which they fucking are. But, to not agree with the treatment of illness or whatever they want to call it. This isn't a free country, because they can involuntarily commit you and force you to get on medication and undergo all kinds of things that are not lawful under the Constitution. But whatever, let's not get into that. I think that there are two types of mental illness. So you have all these different things, you have all these different disorders, all these different issues. But really what it boils down to is awareness. So the more aware you are, the more you can do with it, positively, and, like, the less it'll cripple you. Now, I understand that there's, like, kind of a cross between, like, having something and really struggling with it, versus having something and making it everybody else's problem. I think that you can do both at the same time. I saw a therapist for a long time, and I saw him in different periods of my life. He was convinced I had schizophrenia. He wasn't just convinced of this because of my pot habit. He was convinced of this because of my seemingly delusional thinking, and the perspective that I had in the world. And the fact that I kept using the term they to describe people that I thought were trying to control everybody. So yeah, there's that whole thought process that's very, like, seemingly paranoid. Like, what are they really doing, There's ominous intentions behind everything. There's that. I try not to make it anybody's problem. I understand that, like, my lack of punctuality can be a problem when I don't show up when I'm supposed to show up to work. And now, granted, they're used to it. I mean, it's a joke. I mean, my manager said just the other day, like, if Amy shows up before me, like, there's a problem. And so, yeah, like, I understand, though, that, like, it comes across as kind of sociopathic to, like, not care about other people's time. And I know that it comes across as, like, inconsiderate to, like, not be, like, thinking about other people and, like, but I also think that there's a side to that that's extremely, like, codependent and people-pleasy. You know? Like, you're not really doing it because you care about other people. You're doing it because you know that it makes you look good. Well, I just don't give a fuck about that. I never have. And if that makes me a bad person, then I guess I'm a bad person. I don't think I'm a bad person, but I understand how that comes across the way that it does. But I get that my thoughts are all over the place, and they're really hard to keep up with. Which is why I'm the only one that can keep up with them, you know? I don't expect anybody else to really get it. And, I think that for people that have been to psychiatric hospitals and they've seen those schizophrenics that are in, like, the throes of psychosis, they can look at a person like me and be like, well, you're doing fine. But you have to understand that I have a lot of awareness over this. Like, it's all about awareness. Once you become aware of what it is, it doesn't affect you the same way. That's not just true of you, that's true of everybody else. That's why I stress that you understand personality disorders. Because then you won't be so blindsided by these people and their tactics to try to control you. So whenever people try to control me, I know what it's about. And so it doesn't affect me the same way that it affects other people that don't understand that condition. And so learning a lot about different personality types and learning a lot about the world and what the world's about, that will save you. I never believed in love or marriage or any of that shit, so I wasn't stupid enough to get married. I know plenty of people that were very stupid and emotionally stupid, okay? Like, they were just in love with somebody and they really wanted to believe that that love could last, and it didn't. And they wasted a bunch of money and energy, and then they were totally heartbroken, and they had to go through the loss of, you know, the death. The death of this person in their life that meant so much to them. And there's a reason why God doesn't want us to do that. God wants us to just be married to one person and stay married to that person and have sex with that one person and have babies with that one person, because it makes logical sense. Not just logical, emotional sense. But a lot of people don't want to hear that, because they want to be free, right? Well, you know, I have this this couple that I refer to a lot. They go to my church and they're, like, so happy. And they both waited till they were married to have sex. And they have this beautiful baby. She's pregnant again. She got pregnant on her honeymoon. And, you know, I've seen them bicker. I've seen them get annoyed with each other. But it's like, they have something really beautiful. And I'm so happy they have that. But they did it the right way. I mean, the reason why divorce is because people aren't doing it the right way. The reason why so many people are miserable, they're not taking the time to do it right. They're not being spiritual about it. And I think it's the lack of spirituality that's making people so fucking toxic, you know? And so with mental illness, schizophrenia is kind of weird because it's like we're super knowledgeable of that. We're super knowledgeable of angels and demons and God and the devil and all that. So that's why we're so stigmatized, because we have this hyper consciousness of that spiritual world. So yeah, of course the devil's gonna fuck with that. Why wouldn't he, dude? It's a threat. It's a threat to his power and control over the world. And yeah, when you have to interact with people that are constantly being messed with by those demons that tell them that if they just control the situation, they won't have to think about their shit childhood, then yeah, like, when you have to be in a world, when you have to be immersed in a world with those types of people, it would make more sense to try to learn a lot about it. What makes these people tick? What pisses these people off? What triggers them? Because then you won't be bombarded by tactics that you don't understand, that will only manipulate you into caving in. You know, like, the absolute worst thing that you can possibly do is give bad people what they want, okay? And I think about this a lot. Like, how many times have I done that in the past? How many times have I given somebody exactly what they want, all because I don't want to deal with their bullshit? And I felt bad about that. But the repercussion of not giving someone what they want, especially a narcissist, is that they're going to fucking yell at you. They're going to attack you. They're going to turn into a pitbull. They can act like they're a little labrador, but they're going to turn into a fucking pit real quick if you set a boundary with them and you let them know, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. That's not me. I don't have any desire to do that. Oh, you think of me that way? Well, that's not the way that I am. You're actually delusional. Bye-bye. You know? If you assert yourself, they're not going to know what to do. And I have to deal with this every single day with this bitch. Okay? But it's fine, because I know I won. And the whole point isn't winning, okay? But, like, it's like she's my boss, dude. So she's constantly doing the power trip thing. Which is stupid, because she needs my approval more than she needs anybody else's. And so it's like she might vouch for me, but she vouches for me because she wants my approval. It's not because she actually likes me. It's not because she wants anything to do with me, really. It's like, I think I really piss people off because I am, like, totally myself, and I don't pretend to be something I'm not. I mean, I have in the past, and it's just made me feel like shit. And so I would rather, you know, stay true to myself, even if it means that people are going to be mad, than lying. And so it makes sense why these types of people, they get mad at you because you refuse to lie, because that's all they fucking do. It's like their way of life. It's their defense mechanism. because they don't have a self to be true to. It's just sad. But if they don't want to do the shadow work, they don't want to do the shadow work. And that's not my responsibility to make them do that. And if I tell them off, it's not going to matter anyway. So it's like, say you're talking to a schizophrenic person. Who is in a seemingly psychotic state. And you're trying to convince them that whatever they think isn't happening. They're going to become even more convinced that that thing really is happening because you don't believe it. That's why it's stupid to try to talk to irrational people, because they're irrational for a reason. So I understand that, and because I understand that, I'm not even gonna fuck with that. You know? So Terence McKenna, he said that it's not that shamans are so good at healing people, it's that they know who's capable of being healed. And that's true because we fucking pay attention. We pay attention to people's behavior, and we can tell who's aware and who cares enough to change. Like, I'll tell you straight up, I don't care enough to change my lack of punctuality. I don't care enough to spend time with somebody that's going to belittle me. I've lost a lot of capacity to care for people like that. And it's not because I don't care for them at all. I'll care for them from a distance. I'll pray for them, which is stupid because it's like taking that prayer and chucking it off a fucking cliff. But I pray for them so I don't continue to be mad at them or get sucked into that negative space. That's the whole purpose of prayer. That's the whole purpose of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about the other person. Forgiveness is about you. Because you're really forgiving yourself in a lot of ways. When you forgive another person, you're forgiving yourself for letting that person hurt you. And if you forgive yourself, then you're not as likely to end up in the same situation because you'll remember. It's like the saying, forgive, don't forget. Like, there's no such thing as announceable forgiveness, okay? You forgive people internally. So, there's plenty of shit that's happened. I've forgiven people for mistreating me or whatever. I don't forget that that's what happened. But I had to forgive myself for putting myself in that position to be hurt by them. And you know, sometimes people don't mean it. Sometimes people just say stuff. You know? But a lot of the time they do. A lot of the time they're purposely saying things to be hurtful. But if they don't know what they're doing, and I really believe in my hardest of hearts that manipulative people, most of them, don't have any idea because they're not self-aware enough. They don't have enough emotional intelligence to really understand why they're doing what they're doing. So while people might say, because I see this a lot in like narcissism recovery, all that, it's like people are like, they know what they're doing. No, they don't. They really don't, dude. They definitely don't know why they're doing it. This girl I work with, she has no fucking idea. I've worked with her for fucking God, how long have I been working with this bitch? Since like 2018? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. God, 9 years! Holy shit. Working with this bitch for 9 years. And in studying the way that she behaves and studying how she reacts to things very impulsively, like a pit bull, okay? She's not conscious of why she's reacting the way that she is. She just knows she's pissed off. And she thinks that it's because of surface level shit. But when somebody is acting like that repetitively, it's obviously not because of surface level shit. There's something else going on. And the fact that people that surround these personality types, they haven't made anywhere near as much of an effort as I obviously have. Sorry, I had to be a little self-righteous. But I mean, clearly they haven't, because they still don't understand it. And maybe they just don't know where to look. Maybe they just don't know, like, how to apply information. But it's like they still don't understand, like, it's the way that she is. So, because they don't understand it, they keep reacting to her reacting. Whenever you stop reacting to another person reacting, that's it. That's it. You have surpassed so many levels of emotional immaturity. Because these people, 9 times out of 10, are not going to change. They can attempt therapy, they can read a self-help book, maybe they might go to a 12-step program. But unless they're willing to do a lot of arduous self-searching and deep diving into their childhood trauma and pattern recognition and all that shit, most of them will never do this. They'll never do this because it's too painful, but it's also way more comfortable for them to just keep blaming everybody. So, anyway, it's all about awareness. So if I seem like I'm better than your more mentally ill friends that are on a fuck ton of medication and it's still not helping them, or people that you met at a psych ward that seem like they'll never get better, I think it's because I'm more virtuous in my spirituality. Like, I've always had a really strong sense of God. At the same time, I did a lot of really bad things, knowing damn well that he was watching the whole time, okay? So I'm not above that. I'm not above being a shithead. I'm not above doing things that I know are wrong. I'm not above doing things that I know are terrible for me. But I will say, I would never intentionally make somebody feel bad. I would never intentionally say something to hurt somebody. That's why I'm so careful, believe it or not. I know it seems hard to believe. I am careful about the jokes that I do. Because there are a lot of jokes that I could do that are way worse than whatever you think is pretty mean-spirited. It's not mean-spirited, it's just the truth. But, you know, even that, I feel somewhat bad about. If I say something and I'm like, man, that sounds really mean. I have to get over that. That's a pride thing. That's definitely a pride thing. Because saying something needs to be said, that's part of comedy. That's part of art. And, you know, there's no point in saying what needs to be said to a narcissist because they'll never hear it the way that you want them to hear it anyway. They're not receptive to that kind of information. And if they are, it's only going to be for those 5 minutes. Because they want to impress you, or they want to get you off their back about something, you know. I mean, I know I've done it too. But I'm not very good at lying. So, like I said, I'm not going to do something I know I'm not good at. And I'm not going to pretend I like you when I don't. That's why I hate birthdays. It was my sponsee's birthday yesterday. And I felt bad because I didn't know. She didn't care, though, because she's not a narcissist. You know? The narcissist that we work with, though, she was like, oh, well, y'all better do something good for my birthday, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, she's got to make it about her. That's how much of a piece of shit she is. See, that's the thing, I fucking hate birthdays, because it's the most narcissistic day ever. And it's a total waste. It's a total waste, dude. Birthdays are for fucking children. Okay? I don't want to say that the same way I said it. Birthdays are for children. Somebody's gonna clip that. I don't know. Somebody's gonna clip that. Try to paint me into a monster. But no, birthdays are for children. And they stop being fun after 9. I mean, I talked to this kid that I went to church with. He lives in what's that country? Puerto Rico. He moved to Puerto Rico, but when he turned 10, you know, he told me that every single birthday card was about double digits. I was like, yeah, that proves my point about birthdays. It's just like, yeah, they're for children. Anybody still celebrating their birthday or anybody else's birthday after 9 is a narcissist. I don't care. You can say I'm a bitch. You can say, oh, it's because you're adopted and you don't know your parents, and that's why you hate birthdays. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. Fuck cake. Fuck candles, fuck balloons, fuck gifts. Fuck that stupid ass birthday song that nobody can sing right because nobody's in fucking tune. Fuck everybody singing to you at a restaurant. Dude, I need to do like a long ass rant about how much I hate birthdays. Ugh. But also, I've had a lot of terrible birthdays too, where it's like my parents will ask me what I want, I'll tell them, and they'll be like, no, we're not gonna do that. Or like, I will tell friends of mine, please don't celebrate my birthday, I don't want you to make a thing out of it, and then they'll get mad at me about it. And be like, well, I do want to make a thing out of it because I care about you. Obviously you don't! You're not even listening to me. You're making my birthday about you. If my birthday wish is to forget my existence, then obviously you don't really give that much of a fuck about me if you insist on having it your way. Okay? Just go to fucking Burger King.